Hello everyone, welcome back to Atreyu Crochet. So in today's video I will be showing you how to make a Rasta cap. And I already know if you watched last week's video, there were probably many of you, especially the beginners, who were like, this is cool, but I would really love to see him make a hat or cap from scratch. And so I already knew that I would be making this video once I made that one. So things you will need include some black yarn. This is a medium 4, okay? And then you're gonna need these 3 colors. This is like a gold or maize, green, and then red. Okay, so that kind of gives it that Rasta look. And you won't need entire skeins of each of these colors, but you need to just have these colors, some remnants of these colors, so that we can, get that Rasta look going. You're gonna need a pair of scissors. You're gonna need a crochet hook. This is size 7mm, that is US. Okay. Gonna need a darning, weaving, tapestry needle. And then you're gonna need some 2mm elastic bead cord. Okay. If you watched last week's video, you also saw that I used this. Okay. So, hands down, your largest amount of yarn should be in your main color, which for me is black. Now I know that many of you hate when I use darker colors, but I'm sorry, I'm a guy. I like to wear dark colors a great majority of the time. So when I make things like these tutorials, they're usually of darker colors. But to combat that, per the suggestion of one of you guys, I'm using a lighter background. So hopefully that will help you to be able to better see what I'm doing, okay? All right, that is it for now. So let's just get to it. Alright, and let me apologize for this. I smashed my finger in the car door this morning. And yeah, it does hurt. It really does hurt, but I still wanted to get this video made for you guys, so I am suffering through the pain. And what other crochet channel are you going to, find a soiled band-aid like this, right? That's when you know it's real. Alright, so we're going to start with the main color, which is black, and we're gonna start with a slip knot. So just wrap it, twist exchange, pull it over your finger, and now we're gonna pull this one over that one and off your finger like that, while lifting up on the one that's still on your finger. Okay, now we're gonna insert our size 7mm US crochet hook into the ring, and we're gonna pull to tighten, and that's our slip knot. So now, you guys, we are going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? Now we're going to slip stitch back into that first chain that we made. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's right there. Okay? We're going to go back in there and just go through the chain. You guys know I like to get 2 loops on there, but if it's okay if you only get 1 like that. Okay, I just prefer to get 2. Feels like it's meaty. That's what I call it. All right, and now yarn over and then pull all the way through. That's how we slip stitch. Okay, and that creates a little ring right there. So now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to start to put double crochets in to this ring, okay? And we're going to crochet over this tail while we're doing it. So we're going to yarn over, insert our crochet hook into the ring. So find that little ring again. Okay, it's there. All right, and you can lay the tail on top, yarn over, pull through to the front, and we have 3 loops. Yarn over, go through 2. 1, 2, and yarn over, go through 2. 1, 2. Let's make another one. Yarn over, go back into the ring in that same little hole there. Lay the tail on top, yarn over, pull through to the front. We have 3 loops. Yarn over, go through 2. 1, 2. Yarn over, go through 2. 1, 2. Okay? So we have made 2 double crochets, okay? But we're going to count that chain 3, that initial chain 3, as a double crochet as well. So I want you to continue putting double crochets into that ring until you have a total of 15 stitches, including that chain 3, which will count as a double crochet. So what that means is we have a chain 3 and we're going to crochet actually 14 of the actual double crochets for a total of 15 stitches. Alright, do one more, yarn over, go into the hole, lay the tail on top, yarn over, pull through to the front, 3 loops, yarn over, go through 2, 1, yarn over, go through 2, 1, 2. Okay, continue doing that and I will meet you once I get all 15 stitches made. See you there. Alright, so I have all 15 made. Okay, and remember that's including this chain 3 there. And you guys, I'm looking at this, I don't know if that background is really helping, so just be sure to listen to what I'm saying, okay? Alright, so we are going to slip stitch into the top chain of that chain 3, 1, 2, 3, that's the top chain there. I'm going to try to get this close to the camera, hopefully that will help you see better. Alright, and we're just going to go in there, go into that top chain of the chain 3, like that, and then yarn over and pull all the way through. Alright, so now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and right in the same place that we slip stitched there, we're going to put a double crochet. Okay, so we put essentially 2 stitches in that same stitch. Okay, and that's what we're going to do for every stitch around. So round 1 had 15 stitches, remember? It had the 14 double crochets plus that chain 3, which made 15 stitches. And this round, round 2, is going to have 30 stitches because we're putting 2 stitches in every stitch below. So in that chain 3, we have the chain 3, which is 1 stitch, and then the actual double crochet, which is in that same place. That's the second stitch, so the chain 3 has 2 stitches. And now in the next stitch, we're going to put 2 double crochets. So slice the icing off the top of the cake, yarn over, pull through to the front, 3 loops, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. Go back in there, same place, and make another double crochet. So each stitch around, next one, slice the icing, we'll get 2 double crochets. Okay, so continue putting 2 double crochets all the way around and I will meet you there. Okay, alright, so I am back all the way around. I've put 2 double crochets into every stitch, each of the 15, and now we're back here at this chain 3, so we're going to slip stitch into the top chain of that chain 3. There's the bottom chain 1, middle chain 2, top chain 3. So just go into the chain like that, yarn over and pull all the way through. Now we're going to chain 2. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now right there where we slip stitch, you guys, we're going to go back in there and put a double crochet. Okay, and then we're going to go to the next stitch. So this is the chain 3 right there, which has those 2 stitches. We're going to go into this next stitch, which is there. We're going to yarn over, slice the icing off the top of the cake, yarn over, pull through to the front, 3 loops, yarn over, go through 2, 1, 2, yarn over, go through 2, 1, 2. Okay, and that's our pattern, 2, 1. So that means the next stitch, you guys, will get 2 double crochets. So slice the icing. That's 1. Go back in there for a second one, which is 2. And then the one thereafter will only get 1 double crochet. The next one will get 2. 1, back in there for 2. Next one will only get 1. Okay, so continue in this fashion all the way around and I will meet you there. Alright, I'm almost back around. I have 1 more stitch to crochet into, and the second to last one got 2 stitches. So this last one right there will get 1. Slice the icing and put your 1 double crochet in there. Okay, like that. We're going to slip stitch into the top chain, 1, 2, 3. Alright, so right now this is not big enough to fit on the top of my head. Okay, that's what I'm going for. Okay, so I'm going to do another round. By the way, round 1, 15 stitches. Round 2, 30 stitches. Round 3, the one we just completed, 45 stitches. Okay, now we're moving on to round 4. And just like with every other round, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to put a double crochet into that same place where we just slip stitch. So yarn over, go in there, yarn over, pull through to the front, 3 loops, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. Okay, now we're going to put 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. This right here, you guys, that's the next stitch. Don't miss it. Okay, so yarn over, slice the icing off that very next stitch, and then put a double crochet. Okay, and then the next one we're gonna put 1 double crochet. So that's gonna be the pattern for this round, round 4. It's gonna be 2, 1, 1. Okay, so to repeat it, the next stitch is here, 2. So that's the first one. Yarn over, go back in that same place, that same stitch for 2. And now the next one will get 1. Okay, see how that has 2, that has 1, and then the next one will get 1 as well. Okay, repeat the pattern. Next stitch gets 2, that's 1, that's 2. Next stitch gets 1, 1, and then 1. Okay, so 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. Okay, continue in that fashion till you get back around here, and you should end on that second one. So these last 3 stitches should be 2, 1, 1. See you there. Alright, you guys, I'm down to my last 3 stitches, and as you can see, I ended on the second one. So 2, 1, 1. Okay, and now, as I said, you'll end on that second one. So the next one will get 2, 1, back in there for 2, and then the next one will get 1, and then the very last one will get that second one. Okay, and then we're going to slip stitch into the 1, 2, 3, the third chain up, like we have been doing at the end of each round. Pull all the way through. Okay, so this, as it is big enough. When I put it on the top of my head, it covers my whole head. So it took me 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds to achieve that. If you were making this little cap for, a child, then maybe you would only do 3 rounds instead of 4. Or if you were making it for someone with a bigger head, then maybe you do 5 rounds instead of 4. But 4 is sufficient for me. And by the way, you should have a total of 60 stitches in round 4. So 15 round 1, 30 round 2, 45 round 3, and then in round 4 you should have 60. Okay, so now, and let me just say, we would call those increase rounds, right? Because we were increasing the number of stitches in each of those rounds. In some of the stitches we put 2 stitches, right? So those were increase rounds. Once you've gotten this circle big enough for the top of your head, then we're going to make our first maintenance round, or our first non-increase round. So round 5, which is what we're starting now, we'll have 60 stitches because we're not going to put 2 stitches in any stitch. We're only going to put 1 stitch in every stitch around. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. This chain 3 is the 1 stitch for that chain 3 below. Okay, and then we go to the next stitch, which is there, and we put a double crochet like that. Okay, and then we go to the next stitch and put another double crochet. Okay, and then we go to the next stitch and put another double crochet. Okay, so we're going to continue on around, putting 1 double crochet into every stitch below, and I will meet you right back there. Alright you guys, I am down to my last stitch. I'm just going to put a double crochet in there, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the 1, 2, 3 top chain, the third chain up like that. Okay, I don't know if you guys can tell, but this is starting to curve. Okay, and that is what it should be doing. That's happening because I'm no longer increasing, so it's starting to curve like a bowl, right? Okay, so at this point you guys, you're going to continue making non-increase rows, putting 1 double crochet in every stitch around, okay, until when you put this on your head or the head of the person that you're making it for, it comes just in the little nook of the ear. So you know, you put a hat on, you want it to come down to the part where your ear connects to. Okay, so like imagine this is the ear right here, right? This is where the ear is coming out of the head. You want the hat to come down to that point, okay? And then the rest of your ear will lay on top like that, but you want it to come down to where the actual ear is connected to the head. Okay, once you get your hat that long, then I will meet you there and I will tell you how many rows it takes, okay, for me, just to give you an idea. So I just made my first non-increase round, which has 60 stitches, and you're not going to have any more than 60 stitches at this point because we're no longer increasing. Okay, so yeah, just continue, do exactly what you just did, chain 3, that chain 3 counts for that chain 3, and then start putting 1 double crochet in every double crochet around, and I'll meet you once I get to my desired length. Alright, see you soon. Alright, so we have our bowl now. That's what I'm calling it. And just so you know, I did 7 non-increase rows, okay, total. So the last row that was an increase was here, where I did 2 and then 1 1, 2 1 1. So I did 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 rows. Okay, and I'll insert a picture showing you at what point it comes to on my head when I put it on. Okay, so now that I've gotten this long enough to fit as a cap, it would be longer if I was making a tam, but this is a cap, so it's going to be shorter. Now I'm going to grab my 2mm elastic bead cord, and I just want to unravel enough to make it around the opening of the cap. Okay, so I want to go around. Alright, I need more. Alright, so just roughly kind of go around the cap. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to at least make it all the way around. And you can do it like this as well if you want, or you can stick it through a stitch if you want, just to kind of hold it in place like that. And then yeah, just go around like this. Make sure you have enough to get back around because you're going to tie a couple of knots. Okay, so that works like that. Alright, so I'm going to cut it there because it crisscrossed over. And now I'm done with this. Okay, and now I'm going to take that out. I'm going to put my crochet hook back into the loop where I left off. And now we're going to make a round of single crochets. Okay, so I'm going to chain 1, so that chain 1 is for that chain 3 there. Hopefully you guys can see that chain 1 is for that chain 3 there. And now we're going to start to crochet over this bead cord. Okay, so just lay it on top like that, and then see, make this loop smaller. Okay, so now we're going to slice the icing off the top of the stitch, the double crochet like that. I'm going to put the bead cord on top like that, so just lay it there, hold it with this finger. Okay, now yarn over and then pull through to the front like normal, you're gonna have 2 loops. Okay, make sure this bead cord stays down like that because we want to crochet over it, and I'm holding it with this finger over here, the injured finger. So 2 loops. Okay, bead cord is in there, see that? Okay, and I'm going to yarn over, and now I'm crocheting over it. 1, 2. Okay, I've made my first single crochet there, and I've crocheted over the bead cord. Let's do it again. And because it's a single crochet, we do not yarn over first, we just enter the stitch. So slice the icing off the top of the cake, the stitch, put the bead cord on top. Now yarn over, and this, you see how it's going on top of the bead cord there. When I do that, keep that down, keep the bead cord down, and then yarn over, and then go through 2. Okay, and you're just going to continue doing this in every stitch, 1 single crochet, crocheting over the bead cord, kind of the exact same way that you crochet over tails when you don't want to have to weave them in later. That's exactly what we're doing. Okay, so the exact same thing. Okay, so I'll show you one more time. Here's the next stitch right there. I go into the top of it like normal, put the bead cord on top. Okay, you can see it because it's a little bit shinier. Now I yarn over, and as I pull this yarn over to the front, that's when I start to crochet over the bead cord. See that? Okay, but you got to keep it down so that you can finish crocheting over it. So yarn over and then pull through to make this single crochet. Okay, so continue doing that, and I will meet you once we get back around here. See you there. All right, we're almost back around. We have 1 more stitch there, 1 more double crochet. So here's our bead cord. So we're gonna go into the top of the stitch, put the bead cord on top, yarn over, pull through like that. Now yarn over, and then go through the 2, crocheting over the bead cord. That was the last stitch. All right, and here is the tail, and then here's the other tail there. Okay, so at this point we are going to put those bead cord tails to the back like that. And now I'm going to slip stitch into that chain 1 at the very beginning. So just go into the chain 1 there, like that, and then yarn over and just pull all the way through, like that. Okay? Now I'm going to chain 1, cut my yarn, fasten off. Alright, so this is what we have. Now, we're going to kind of just put our hands in there, make sure it's not buckling anywhere. Okay, and it's not. So at this point, we're going to tie these 2 strands, these 2 bead cord strands, okay? Alright, so we'll tie these 2 bead cord strands, tails together. But with the first tie, we don't pull super tight, okay? We don't want it to buckle anywhere. We want it to just come together like that, okay? Now, for the second knot, we're going to tie it tight, so like that, okay? So it's a good knot, and it's tight, but it's not causing the opening to buckle anywhere. Alrighty, so now, you guys, we're going to crochet 1 more row of single crochets, okay? And now, this is stretchy, okay? So it'll fit and stay on your head better. That's the purpose of using the bead cord there. So we're going to reinsert our crochet hook right where we slip stitched, right where that knot is. Okay, just stick your crochet hook in there wherever you can get in. And if it helps, you can even go in the stitch before, like that. It's much easier. And then here's the tail and the bead cord. Okay, and we're going to grab our yarn again, our black yarn. Loop it on your finger and then hook it onto the crochet hook, pull it through, and then immediately grabbing that short tail, immediately chain 1 to kind of secure it. And now we're just going to go around this hat 1 more time, making single crochets. You guys know that I'm a fan of crocheting over tails so that I don't have to hide them later. So we're going to crochet over both of the bead cord tails right there, okay, as well as the tail that we just made by reattaching the crochet yarn, by reattaching the yarn and the tail that we created when we chained one and cut our yarn before. So 4 tails to crochet over, but you will be happy you did, because you don't have to worry about it later. Trust me. Okay, so now I'm just going to go into the top of the stitch, and I'm in the top of the chain 3 right now. I'm in the top of the single crochet. Got all that crap laying on top, and then pull through to the front, 2 loops, yarn over, go through 2. Okay, and I'm just going to continue going through the top of each single crochet, lying all that crap on top, yarning over, pulling through to the front, yarning over, going through 2. Okay, and I'm just successfully crocheting over all of that, so I don't have to worry about tucking it later. Make sure you don't crochet any of those tails. You want to crochet over them. Okay, and then at some point, see how it wants to be crocheted as if though it's the yarn. Yeah, don't allow that to happen. So here are all the 4 tails. Here's the next stitch right there. Going in there, laying all 4 of those tails on top, yarning over, pulling to the front, and all that is back there. And now I'm going to yarn over and then go through 2, crocheting over it. Okay, so just continue doing that. These tails are ending at different points because they are of different lengths. It does not matter. It makes no never mind, as some people like to say, because we can always cut them down later if they're poking through. Okay, so just continue doing that, and I will meet you once we get back around here. Okay, but see how you can't see any of that? We've crocheted over all of it. So that makes me happy. See you in a bit. Alright, so we've made it back around, and it may be difficult to see, but this stitch right there, that's the chain 1 that started this round. Okay, so we're just going to slip stitch into that chain 1. It's kind of lying flat because it's just 1 chain, but that's where you want to slip stitch. Okay, now we're going to chain 1 again, cut our work, and then fasten off. At this point, you can turn your work around, and then I always like to just go into a nearby stitch, loop it, and as if though you're about to make a chain 1. Okay, like that. But then yarn over again and pull through. Okay, and so that brings the tail on the inside of the hat, and then I'll cut it down, and that will serve as the tag. Okay, so this is like my little tag marker, so I know where the back is. As I said, some of these might be poking through. It's not a huge deal. You can always cut them down. Okay, cut it down. Even the bead cord you can cut down if you want, if it's bothering you. Okay, clean it up. Okay, so you can actually stop at this point, right? You have this nice little hat that will fit on your head very well, and it won't come off because it has the bead cord in there. And yeah, you could just wear it like that. But the purpose of this video was really to show you how to make a brim. Okay, so at this point we have this back, and this tells us that that's the center of the back. So we want to turn this around, and this is going to be the front of the hat. Okay, so we line that up. This is the tail. We line it up with that. Just bring it across. Okay, so that's the center stitch right there. So we're going to count 8 stitches over one way and then 9 stitches in the other direction, and that'll give us a total of 17 stitches that we're going to be crocheting across as we create this brim. So counting this stitch that the crochet hook is going through, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we're going to mark it with our darning, weaving, tapestry needle. Okay, now we'll take our crochet hook out, and we're going to count over 17 stitches, counting the stitch that the darning, weaving, tapestry needle is in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So there. Okay, so we're going to crochet from here to there, starting there, and yeah, we're going to start to make our brim. Okay, so I am going to take this out, and I'm going to mark it with my finger. I'm going to grab my crochet hook, and put it over there because I'm gonna need that crochet hook there because that's where I'm going to start crocheting, and then I'll just count the 17 stitches over. So 1, 2, sorry, counting that stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay. And now, since I'm making the brim, you guys, whenever you're making a brim, it's a good idea to double up on the yarn. So that means either having 2 skeins of the same color yarn or using both tails, the tail that comes from the inside of the skein as well as the tail that's on the outside of the skein. The latter is my preferred method because you're in that way you're not buying yarn that you don't need, you're using exactly what you have. So that's what I'm going to do. So let me show you. This is the right now the tail that I have is the tail that's coming from the inside of the skein, see? But there's another tail right there on the outside as well. So I'm going to be working with both of these tails at the same time so as to double up on the yarn as I'm crocheting. The reason that we do that is because we want to make the brim stiffer. We want to make it thicker. And so, as you might imagine, having 2 strands will make it thicker than if you were just using 1. Okay? Alright, so we'll line them up like that, loop them on our finger like that, hook them onto the crochet hook, pull both strands through like that, use this finger to hold the strands in the back, pull, and then chain 1 to secure it. Okay, and then you can pull on those as well. Alright, so we're going to crochet over these 2 strands. Surprise, surprise, you guys know I hate weaving in tails later. But we're going to also put 1 single crochet into the 17 stitches across. Okay, so just think of these 2 strands together as 1 strand and we'll crochet as normal. So into the next stitch, put the tails on top, yarn over, pull through to the front. We're still making single crochets. Okay, so that's 1. Okay, so I have made that single crochet. Now the pattern for this row 1, and yes, I did mean to say row because we're no longer working in rounds. The pattern is 1, 1, 2. So that chain 1 counted as 1. This 1 single crochet in the next stitch counts as 1. And now in the next stitch we're going to put 2 single crochets. Okay, so just go in there. I'm still crocheting over these tails for 1, and then go back in there for 2. Okay, so 1, 1, 2. The next stitch, which is there, gets 1. Next stitch, which is there, gets 1, and then in the next stitch that will get 2. Okay, so continue crocheting across these 17 stitches and I will meet you at the last 2 stitches, which will only get 1, FYI. Alright, so I just crocheted 2 single crochets into that 15th stitch. The 16th, as I said, will get 1, and the 17th and final stitch will get 1 as well, and that's where we're going to end that. Okay, so now I am going to take my crochet hook out, so give yourself a little slack, turn your work around like this, put these 2 strands in the back like that. We always want to keep them in the back. And then this next stitch right here, there's the top of it. We call this the unworked or unused stitch. We're going to slice the icing off the top of the cake like that. Put our loops onto our crochet hook, pull to tighten, and then we're going to just slip stitch through like that. Okay? Now we are going to chain 1. And for this next row, row 2, in that next stitch, we're only going to be working in the back loop. Okay, so for row 2 we're only working in the back loops. We're still making single crochets, but we're also only making them in the back loop. So let me show you what I mean. Let me get the stitch, let me get the darning weaving tapestry needle. So like right there, that's the top of a stitch, right? Okay, that's the back loop, and it's a little harder to see because one is black, but two because we're using two strands. We've doubled up our strands, but that's the front loop, that's the back loop. So go into the back loop like that, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, 4 strands, 1, 2, 3, 4, but 2 loops, 1, 2, and then yarn over, go through 2. Okay, so just one single crochet in each single crochet below, but only working in the back loop. See how it creates that ridge there? There's the little ridge there, okay, because you're only working in the back loops. So continue doing that, and I will meet you once we get to the other side. See you there. Alright, so we got 2 more stitches. We have a single crochet and then that chain 1. So still working in the back loop like that. I'm making my single crochets. I think I split my yarn. Okay, there we go. And then in that chain 1, just get in wherever you can. It's going to be a little bit tough. Just get in there however you can and put your single crochet. Alright, so now on this side, this is the first unworked or unused stitch, right? Okay, because this one was worked in. So this one, we want to put a half double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, go down to that first unworked or unused stitch right there. Okay, slice the icing. We're going into the entire stitch, not the back loop anymore. We're done with all back loops. Yarn over, pull through to the front. Okay, we have 3 loops, 6 strands, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but 3 loops, 1, 2, 3. And with the half double crochet, you know, you yarn over and go through everything. Okay, now we are going to give ourselves some slack, take our crochet hook out, turn this around like this, put our yarn in the back. We're going to go into the next unworked stitch or unused stitch, which is there. Grab our 2 loops and then pull and then slip stitch all the way through like that. Okay, now we're going to chain 1 and we're just going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch. So I'm going into the next stitch, the top of it, and the entire stitch. Remember, we're no longer working in the back loops, so just slice the icing off the top of the cake and then put your single crochet. Here's the next one, single crochet, next one, single crochet. Okay, so continue doing that and I'll meet you on the other side. Alright, we have 1 more single crochet to put a single crochet into like that. Alright, and now you guys, we are going to make a half double crochet. So we're going to make it at the base. So right where we put our last single crochet, we're going to drop down. So drop down right there where that little gap is right there, and we're going to put a half double crochet. We want it to be symmetrical. You know how we did a half double crochet over there? I want to do one over here. So yarn over and just drop down right in there where that little hole is. So here's your stitch, drop down and insert your crochet hook, yarn over, 3 loops, 6 strands with 3 loops, and then yarn over, go through everything like that. Okay, all right, so this is what we have. Okay, so now we're going to chain 1, turn our work, keeping our yarn in the back, and we're just going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch again. Okay, so just slicing the icing off the top of the cake and putting 1 single crochet. Okay, so continue doing that and I'll meet you over here. Alright, so we're almost done. This is the last one, the last single crochet that we're going to crochet into, and put a single crochet in there. And now the next unworked stitch is there, and that's where we're going to put our half double crochet. So yarn over, go into that unworked stitch, yarn over, 3 loops, 6 strands, but 3 loops, yarn over, go through all 3 loops. Okay, give ourselves some slack, turn our work around, put the strands to the back, go into the next unworked or unused stitch, which is there, put the loops back on our crochet hook and pull. Okay, and now we're just going to slip stitch like that. Okay, notice every time we go on either side of the brim, we always pull another stitch, so it's getting wider, but it's also curving. Okay. All right, and now we're gonna chain one, and then start working into these single crochets. One single crochet in each stitch across. Okay, so just continue doing that like that, and I will meet you across right there. All right, so we're on this side, and we're gonna go into the next unworked stitch and put a half double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over. Here's the next unworked. Yarn over, pull through to the front, 6 strands but 3 loops. Yarn over, go through everything. Okay, give ourselves some slack, turn it around, put the yarn in the back, go into the next unworked stitch which is there, grab our loops, pull on the yarn and pull through like that to slip stitch. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to start the other colors. So my first one will be red, okay? And because this is the brim, I'm still using 2 strands, okay? So now I am going to hook these on like that. I'm going to pull on the black to close that loop, alright? And then I'm going to tie a knot between the 2 black strands and the 2 red strands. But I'm going to tie a couple of knots actually. And I'm not going to cut the black because I'm going to use it later, okay? And now I'm going to work with the red yarn doing the same thing that I was doing before. But I am going to crochet over these 2 red tails because you guys know, you know how I am, okay? So this, I want them to come under the black like that, okay? So they're on top, and now I'm just going to go into the stitches, putting 1 single crochet into each one like that. Okay, keeping it nice and tight, and hopefully you guys can now better see with this lighter color. I'm sorry about the black. The suggestion was that a white background would help you guys see darker colors better, but I'm really at this point not convinced that it has helped. You guys will have to let me know in the comments. Okay, so just continue putting 1 single crochet, okay, in every stitch across, and I will meet you on the other side. See you there. Alright, so I've made it all the way across, putting 1 single crochet in every stitch, and now in the next unworked stitch I'm going to put a half double crochet. So yarn over, go down there, and then yarn over, 3 loops, go through all 3, and then pull up, turn our work. So you guys should understand the pattern by now. Okay, insert your crochet hook in the next unworked or unused stitch, grab your loops, pull on the yarn to make that loop smaller, those loops smaller, and then slip stitch through. Alright, now we are going to bring in the yellow or the gold, the maize. Okay, so we're going to hook these on, and I'm still working with 2 strands. So pull through like that. Now pull on the red so that gets smaller. Put your eyes there while I pull on this. See? Okay, and now tie a knot between the 2 reds and the 2 yellow. 2 knots actually. I like 2. Feels more secure. And I'm done with the red, so I'm going to cut the red down, but I'm going to cut it to a comparable size as the gold. Alright. And you guys already know that I'm going to crochet over all 4 strands while I work my way back across, right? Yeah, you already knew that was happening. Alright, so go into the next stitch, slicing the icing off the top of the cake, put all that yarn on top, yarn over, pull through to the front, and keep the strands down. 4 strands but 2 loops, 1, 2, and the yarn over, go through 2. Okay, and just work your way crocheting over those strands so you don't have to weave them in later as you crochet your way back across like that. Okay, see? Alright, continue in this fashion and I will meet you over here. See you there. Alright, as you can see, we've crocheted all the way back across. Here's the black yarn that's still attached, okay? And here's that next unworked stitch right there, okay? So we're gonna put a half double crochet, so yarn over. You can lay the black yarn that's still attached on top, and then go into that first or that next unworked stitch, yarn over, pull through 3 loops, 1, 2, 3, yarn over and go through everything, okay? Now we're gonna pull up. You already know, take your hook out, turn your work like this, and then go into the next unworked stitch, which is there. Grab those 2 loops, pull on the yarn, and let's put this yarn in the back. Remember, it should always be in the back. That's where you want it to come from when you're crocheting, okay? And now we will slip stitch through. Alright, so at this point we're gonna add the green in. So we grab our 2 strands of the green, hook them on, pull through. Watch this while we pull on the yellow. That loop will disappear or get really small, like that. You can pull on the green a bit too as well. And now we're going to tie 2 knots between the yellow and the green. So 1, it's hard for me to pull with that finger. It hurts pretty bad. I'm not complaining though. And then 2. Okay. And now we will cut the yellow because we're done with it. Alright. And this can get pretty messy, so make sure you're organizing your yarn pretty well. You're going to need some room to keep track of all the tails. Alright, so now we're going to chain 1. And we are going to crochet over these 4 new tails. Okay, and that black yarn is going to stay down there. Okay, so just go into the next stitch, which is there. It's going to get tight in here. Just do your best to get in there like that. Now I'm in the top of the stitch. Put all those tails on top, yarn over, pull through to the front, 2 loops, go through 2, keeping the tails down. Alright, and we're going to just put 1 single crochet in each stitch across, okay, like that. And I will meet you once we get over there, okay? See you there. Alright, we've made our way across. We're going to put a half double crochet in the next unworked or unused stitch. You guys know how to do this by now, okay? Lift up, turn your work, put your yarn in the back, put your crochet hook in the next unworked or used stitch, which is there. Grab those 2 loops, and then slip stitch. And we're going to use the green to go back across. So chain 1 and then just put 1 single crochet in each stitch below. Okay? And we'll see you once we get to the other side. Okay, we've crocheted back across. We're going to go into this next unworked stitch there and put a half double crochet, but we're going to take our black yarn and put it on top like that. Yarn over, 3 loops, 6 strands with 3 loops. Yarn over, go through everything like that. Pull up, turn our work. Alright. And now we're going to go in the next unworked stitch, which is there. Grab our 2 green loops, pull on the yarn to make them smaller, and then slip stitch. And now, you guys, we'll go back to the black, which is right there for us to use. So now we're going to yarn over with the 2 black strands, pull through, and then we're going to pull on the green to make that loop get smaller, like that, virtually disappearing. Alright, so now we're going to cut the green. And you already know we're going to tie a couple of knots between the green and the black. So let me get the green yarn out of the way. Alright, and now I can tie a couple of knots. Put my crochet hook back in there so I don't lose it. Alright, so just a couple of knots. 1, alright, and then 2, like that. Alright, now I'm going to crochet over the green yarn as I'm crocheting across. but I'm using the black now, right? Okay. Alright, I hope you enjoyed the colors because we're back to the black. So now we're just going to go and put one single crochet in every stitch across like we've been doing. I'm crocheting over these two green tails. Okay. So we're going to make a pass going this way and then one back this way, and then we'll be done with this brim. Now, depending on how long of a bill you want, you can keep going, but just be mindful that every time you go from one side to the other, you're grabbing more stitches, and so that's fewer stitches that are free. You know, it's less of the opening that's free for your head. Okay. But yeah. All right, I will continue putting single crochets in here, and then I will I will meet you once I get to the other side. See you there. Alright, I made it across. So one last time, yarn over, go into the next unworked or unused stitch, pull through to the front to make a half double crochet. Okay, and then pull up, turn your work, keep the yarn in the back, go into the next unworked or unused stitch, grab those loops, pull on your yarn, and then slip stitch. And now this is just easy. We just chain one and then put one single crochet in every single crochet below, back onto the other side. Okay, I will see you once we get over there. Okay, I've crocheted across, and instead of making a half double crochet at this point, I'm just going to go into the next unworked stitch, which is there, and slip stitch down. Okay, now I'm going to chain one, cut my yarn, and fasten off, and then I will weave in these tails into the black. Okay, through there. Now I want to show you that if you have tails like that sticking out, you can either use your crochet hook to push them in so that they're showing on this side, or you can just kind of cut them down. Those are the tails that we were crocheting over. Just be sure not to cut your work. Okay, you don't want any eyesores like that. So yeah, if you see any of that, just cut them down. It's not a big deal. All right, let's weave in these two tails right quick. So I'm going to weave them in simultaneously, meaning I'm going to do both at the same time, even though they're two different strands. Okay, and I'm just going to go through some stitches, these single crochets in one direction, like that. This is one example where, this is one time where it's nice to have black with this silver silver darning weave and tapestry needle, and then go in take a slightly different path to go back in the other direction. Okay, back over there, and make sure it ends on the inside like that. Okay, and then you can just cut these down, or if you want, you can tie a knot first. It's up to you. Do something like this, and I'll tie a knot by chaining one, like that. You don't have to do that, but you can, just to make sure it's extra secure. And then cut the excess down. Okay, and you can clean this up on the inside too. That's just where you were crocheting over things. Same thing with the, see, that's the bead cord, the excess. You can either work it in there, or you can cut them down further. Okay, and like this was the back. I mean, it still is the back, right? But that's my little tag, just so I kind of know where things are. Okay. All right, you guys. Let's zoom out a little bit. I think I'll be able to capture this whole hat in the shot. White background looks nice now. But yeah, this is how you make a Rasta cap. Okay. So you don't have as much room for the head, because I'm not trying to cover all these locks, right? I just want it to kind of fit on like a baseball cap, but you do have this awesome brim that curves. So hopefully you have enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section if you like it. And yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video, but you know I will see you in the next one. In the meantime, happy crocheting.